Oh my god.
And that, my friend, is how aliens abduct your eardrums forever.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Science Fiction Remnant. I am not your evil alien overlord. I am Robert.
Do you see my eyes? That's called a 200 yards dead stare. That's what happens when people blow up your eardrums. You become blind. I cannot stand from this chair now. I need a walking stick. I am your blind chaos. Thank you, screaming, raging monster.
We should have really checked the volume levels before you started doing that.
And I was starting to feel sorry that I was like actually sodomizing his ears with loud noises. So thank you for removing that guilt from my heart, Robert. I appreciate you.
I'm your beanie man down in winter in Australia. Not a mini scientist, Ray.
Take me!
So, what have you guys been watching? It's been a hot minute since we recorded, so there must be something.
Well, I have been stuck, right?
You've been stalking people? Okay, that's a new one.
Because I am stuck, I had to take a break and watch Kate and Leopold. It is sci-fi adjacent. I don't know if you have seen that. I think it was an 80s movie, Kate and Leopold. It is based on Kate's, I guess, ex-boyfriend went back into the past and somehow adopted Leopold, which was a duke in New York, and brought him to the present. So the whole movie, he's trying to get back to his time, and he knows what he is, and he's trying to tell people what he is, but people think he's nuts. Because, imagine you're like from the 1800s, and you're used to horses, and now you see cars. So it was really interesting to watch.
It is a notebook, but the guy is addicted to pain.
Well, I don't think that he was there on purpose. He was, well, I don't want to say adopted, because he followed the ex-boyfriend through the portal. So, because he thought he was, he was to no good. So he's going to follow him.
Sounds a bit like Bill and Ted's.
Kind of. That's pretty much what happens in Bill and Ted. So he followed and got stuck. Because the thing is, he was going to bring him back, but then he fell through an open elevator. I could have sworn he was dead, but I guess the miracle of movies, he ended up in the hospital, and then he started talking how he went to the past. So they moved him from the hospital to the psychiatric ward.
Of course I did.
Yeah. And then the poor guy got stuck in the present. So it's funny, a very romantic movie. So if you haven't seen it,
there was a British TV series in the 80s called Catweasel, about a guy from the Middle Ages who ended up in like 1980s, and he called electricity electrickery. And in the second season, he went back to his own time, and then he came back again, and he goes, but I know your magic of electrickery, and he gets a switch. Click.
So now now I guess I can tell you where I was stuck. And at least one of them, and I'm going to leave that for last, that one we're all will agree with. But I have been watching Severance. I am halfway through season 2.
That's the one where you separate your mind between work and home.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And it's really weird. And
kind of like how people live their lives these days.
Very mysterious.
So what if you work from home? Are you screwed?
I don't know. We gotta have to have someone from Lumen here, and
I think the whole premise of the movie is that people really don't consider things in their lives and then wonder why they are where they are.
Especially if they've been drinking.
Exactly. And the last one, which I think you all agree with this,
Yeah.
is Murderbot.
Oh.
Oh my freaking god!
Yeah, Robert is infatuated with a new series, and because he made me go through what he made me go last time I went to visit him, I'm so happy that he's about to experience that void of a series that you cannot watch anything more about.
Yeah. So that's all I've been watching lately, sci-fi related.
No Star Trek. Oh my god.
Well, it's coming. We're waiting.
Oh, did you hear that Strange New Worlds has been slated for a half-length season 5 to round out the show, and then they're axing it?
Yeah. I don't know how to feel. But we're getting in a Starfleet Academy, so I don't know.
Oh, well. At least it's not going to be the drought like it was from the late 90s.
Oh my god, I hated that.
Yeah.
Actually, the Star Wars drought was worse. Now that I think about it,
They were both pretty bad.
we're both pretty bad. Yeah, you're right. They're equally bad.
Hey, Chaos,
I'm sorry.
have you been watching anything sci-fi related?
So sci-fi related, I've been watching Project Lazarus. I need to get back to it. I
What's
was
that
playing.
about?
I was playing some Cyberpunk 2077, and
Shock.
even though it's not really sci-fi, it's worth mention. And it talks about alternate realities, so maybe it is sci-fi.
Oh, it is. That's sci-fi. Come on.
But it's the movie Your Name. It's an anime.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah.
that was a great movie.
Yes. And the other one that we
That's
watched,
your
Robert,
name's the one where they keep swapping bodies, isn't it?
Yeah.
yes,
Deal.
yes.
Ooh.
But do tell me, how do you really feel?
Oh, it was a terrible movie. Screw you. You made me feel things. I hate it. It's detestable.
Oh no, he's frozen black heart defrosted for a little while.
Yeah, I was shocked, man. I was shocked.
Disgusting, bro. I almost felt like throwing up. You know what's worse than throwing up is being a man, so you had to swallow it. And then you had to go on your day with that burnt taste of bile on your throat. Thank you, Robert.
Oh,
And then to back it up, what was the other one that we watched that was just like a freaking cherry on top?
oh, I haven't watched that one yet. It was Susume, I think.
Susume, yeah.
Yeah.
Susume. God damn, what a movie, too. Holy shit. Susume is the one, Ray, that the guy becomes, he's like he's kind of like a spiritual guy, and he goes closing like dimensional gates. And a cat makes him a chair. And then she kind of like helps him around Japan chasing this cat.
Rephrase that so he understand it. He didn't make him a chair.
The cat.
The cat turned him into a chair.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
Well,
He's walking.
I know the cat's a narcissist, but that's just pushing the boundary.
Yeah. It was a very good movie too. Must watch. I think it really dwells on, and why I mention it is because I think it really dwells on interdimensional worlds, parallel worlds. I think that it pictures that very well. Even though it shows that as something spiritual, I think that that's what it was picturing, Robert, on those scenes, that it was showing like another dimension or like the spiritual world,
Yeah.
you know. And it was very interlinked with like how astrological events can affect physically our world, because it was about a comet or something, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I think I want to go back, Gio, and I'm not sure if you heard Ray's a question, but he was asking, what is Project Lazarus?
Oh, so Project Lazarus, it's a very awaited anime. I think that was with the same people that made Cowboy Bebop. And premise of it is that basically they made this medicine that heals every illness in the world. So everybody got into it. And
Can
what
I
it
have some?
turned out to be was kind of like a time bomb. So
Oh, okay.
basically, the guy that made it said, "Now you had 3 years to die," and basically he has they're looking for the guy that has the only potion to like heal this uh, vaccine that everybody has. If not, humanity is gonna die. That's the whole premise. I'm not gonna say more. You want to know more? You have to watch it. Animation,
Seems it.
top, top, top. Very, very good.
Nice.
Cool. Well, of course, I've been watching Murder Pop because why wouldn't I? I mean,
Exactly. And if you're not watching Motorbot, why?
why haven't we covered Murderbot yet? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, we have to cover Motorbot.
We really do. Before the season ends, preferably.
I even read the book first. It's a short book, and that's the only thing bad about it. I finished it in a day.
Seems fair. Yeah, so I've been really enjoying Murderbot. In fact, I'm saving up the latest episode for after the recording, so I'll go and check that out then. I mainlined Love, Death and Robots season 4 because my God, they really pulled out all the stops this season. I mean, from a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert, not exactly sure how that got in there, but it was still interesting. If you combine Thunderbirds with a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert, you basically will understand what I'm talking about. It was bizarre, and all sorts of amazing things. Even World War II bomber squadron being attacked by a fallen angel.
What about that episode that we watched that Mr. Beast was on it?
Oh yes, Mr. Beast was one of the voice actors.
And honestly, no. Even his appearance, like his face was like, and honestly, in my opinion, a very good depiction of his real self. With his maniacal games.
I mean,
oh my God.
how sci-fi can you get? You've got basically slaves doing this race using dinosaurs as the mounts on an orbital which is orbiting around Jupiter.
Would you venture to say that they use influence from Halo, Dune, to create this, right?
Oh yeah,
definitely,
sure. And Jurassic Park.
Oh my God. Well, more like Ark Survival, which is a video game.
Yeah,
which it's very sci-fi, by the way. I haven't played it yet because it's one of those games that I would need a crew, like people that play with in. But they said that the new game, Vin Diesel is gonna be on it.
Ooh.
Riding T-Rexes. There's nothing more freaking macho than that shit.
It's all about the family, man.
Yeah, all about the family.
Family of pterosaurs, yeah. So I'm still watching I Am an Evil Lord of an Intergalactic Empire. That is so much cool fun.
Nice.
I checked out a bit of Pluto on Netflix, which
what do you
I haven't quite got into it yet. It's very sort of cerebral.
Yes, very.
It didn't pull me in quite as much as some other things. I also checked out Charlotte, which is an older anime about.
I'm gonna warn you, Pluto is not full of waifus and a lot of jiggly teats.
No, it's not. But Charlotte's about school kids that have unusual powers that get co-opted into a school, and it follows one guy who can take over other people's bodies for like 10 seconds. And they basically co-opt him into the student council of this school for exceptional teenagers.
Oh, I know. I actually suggested this anime a long time ago, and I had Robert watch it and have it traumatized about.
It was
otherwise the government would take them away and experiment on them because human rights aren't a thing.
Yeah,
this guy went like OP, like self-sacrifice. Like, there's no better self-sacrificing character than the main character in this one. That one was like, oh shit, this dude is like, okay, top hero guy here. Take my hat off.
And I've been reading a lot of manhwas and mangas online. Really getting stuck into a few really good ones. A lot of them are what's called lit RPG. So they're like, translated to another world, but you have access to the system, very much like Solo Leveling, but not quite as OP. But I've been following a couple of really good stories of that, which I'm waiting for new episodes now because I caught up in them. And I also was re-listening to sci-fi related a novel that I wrote about 10 years ago now called Minus Hell, which is theistic sci-fi horror based on a role-playing game that I worked on with Doc Joe. Was having listened to that just to see how I felt about it after all this time. It's not really.
It is interesting that you mentioned that, because I, out of nowhere, was watching horror anime actually, and it was very good, to be honest. I was watching Jinju, the Stories of the Macabre.
All right.
Very good, actually.
No Legends of the Overfiend?
No, it was actually something. It was art, not vomit.
And of course, working on my novel, because why not?
Because why? Yes, yes, yes.
Nice. Okay, so I guess we're ready for the first segment.
Yep.
We are Science Fiction Remnant.
This is the Funny Science Fiction Podcast.
We are the Caribbean Science Fiction Network.
We are Monorats.
We are One Accord Level 2 Podcast.
This is Jesse from Sudden But Inevitable and Open Pike Night.
This is SciFi.
And if you're new to the show, this is a segment where we feature the hashtag This is Sci-Fi. And this is our attempt to unite the sci-fi community under one flag. So if you're a creator or a fan of that one thing that you love so much, or that thing that you created that is your baby, you're already posting about it. And so the idea is for you to add just one more hashtag to your post, the hashtag This is Sci-Fi. And then everybody else just follows that hashtag, This is Sci-Fi. And what happens is when you're following the hashtag, you'll encounter different posts from creators and passionate fans all alike, where they're talking about their passion for their thing, their sci-fi love, their sci-fi baby. And a couple of things I've seen happen over the years. One is you have someone that maybe just finished that sci-fi thing they're watching, and they are looking for something either to watch or to be exposed to. Or you will find someone that has watched or is in the middle of watching or experiencing that IP that you're discussing. So you'll have someone that will probably thank you because now, because of your passion, they're curious enough to experience that one IP you're talking about, or that one IP that you created. Or you have someone that it is so happy that they found someone that likes the thing that they like, and you'll gain more conversation on that thing. And in that manner, we unite the community. You don't have the silos that I encounter before we started this whole thing. So just remember, follow the hashtag This is Sci-Fi. And if you're posting about sci-fi, just add the hashtag to it. You could be, that you could be a writer, you could be a podcaster. It doesn't matter. If you're creating sci-fi, or if you love sci-fi, just use the hashtag This is Sci-Fi. And there's a couple of ways that you could also get the feeling of the This is Sci-Fi hashtag and be more involved. One of those is calling the hotline. The hotline is 305-563-6334. Again, that's 305-563-6334. And basically what happens is, tell us your passion. If you're a creator, if you're a fan, that post that you were going to do, call and tell us your passion. Tell us that one thing you love, that one thing you created, and why you loved it, and why you love it, and why you felt the need for creating it. And we could actually, with your permission, we can play that message on the next episode, and we can have a conversation about it. That's one way that you can get involved and get the feeling in a more direct way of the This Is Sci-Fi hashtag. The other, of course, is joining our Discord. And if you're listening to this or watching on YouTube, you'll get a link to that invite so you can join in. And that way you can actually talk to us directly and join in the conversation. We have a channel for everything possible. It is possible that we might not have a channel for your thing, but let us know. We can make it a thing. We have so many channels in there. It's crazy. So before we move on, is there anything that you guys like to add to the segment?
Well, you'll find this one interesting, Rob, because it's one of your favorite topics. But did you know that it is the 100th anniversary of the announcement of the theory of quantum mechanics?
Wow, no.
Mm.
And that is crazy to think. Many people.
That's so crazy. That's relative.
Repeat repeat that statement again, because I want people to hear. There is a misconception, because that theory is being talked about so much lately, that it is very easy for someone to misunderstand and think that that is actually a new theory or a new thought process or a new, it's a new branch in science, and technically it's not. So go ahead.
It's all relative, guys.
Yes, it was 100 years ago this month that quantum mechanics was announced theory.
That is insane.
A century.
Yes.
Been around for a century.
And that's, I have to say this, right? That's one of the things that I love about science. You have a theory and you work on that theory. At the beginning, maybe there's just one scientist, doing their experiment, maybe through a meeting with other scientists, that word gets around. You get, obviously, immediately, half of them saying, "Oh, I can see how that could be possible," and then the other half says, "No, there's no way. That's impossible." And then you grow that, and then more people tell more people within the scientific community. So 100 years ago, if you're not following the likes of Einstein or people like, in that arena, you might not know exactly about quantum and the quantum theory. But as more and more scientists are trying to disprove X or Y, we get more exposure to that theory. And then we fast forward to today, where it got so much exposure that now media is exposing some of the concepts. And because media, like, TV, books, movies, are like out there into the public consumption, then a lot more people are interested now. And there was a need for creating documentaries and YouTube videos about the topic to teach other people, that maybe started by someone curious enough and making their own video about it. And that fascinates me, because if you know me well from season 1, I get very giddy when a thought drives the community, drives humanity to research, to investigate more about scientific topics. And this is exactly why. Because of that interest, we get the discovery just skyrockets, and that's why we have so many of those scientific advances, because there's a lot more exposure. What is your thought on that, Ray? Do you?
Well, the thing is about a lot of science, especially science that is not immediately examinable and demonstratable, is that somebody comes up with a theory. I mean, there's lots of parts of science which are on the cutting edge, which are all theoretical, because we have no way of actually examining it, experimenting on it, and measuring it. And of course, 100 years ago, they didn't have any of the technologies we have now to do with quantum theory or quantum computing or anything like that. That didn't exist. So that they had no way to physically examine the situation. It was all theoretical. And eventually the technology, the physical equipment catches up with the thought processes. And usually it's because they're trying to find a way to examine this. And that's how a lot of breakthroughs happen. With science is trying to understand reality. And in trying to come up with ways to do that, our technology improves. And when our technology improves, we can do all sorts of interesting things. And then we get some more idea about what the hell's going on. But the whole thing about quantum theory is that it's still mostly theoretical. They're still arguing about what it all means, and nothing's been really nailed down yet. I mean, the article that I'm looking at now is saying, do we create reality by viewing it, by perceiving it? Are we creating multiple realities just by experiencing this reality?
Yeah.
In other terms, you know that question about the tree in the forest? No, it didn't make a sound. You weren't there.
Thank you, Kenny Loggins. but I mean, yeah, there's a lot we don't know. And science has never said we know everything, because we know we don't know everything. The more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know, and how much more is out there. So yeah, science isn't going to like run out of things to do next week. It's going to keep going for a very long time, because
that's what I got to figure it out. I got to figure it out. You first figure it out that you don't know anything, and then you know it all, because you don't know anything, and anything is all.
Oh, so you don't know everything, then you're actually, in theory, saying everything that you know. So in fact, you know everything. Is that where we're going with this?
Yeah, because if I don't experience it, it doesn't exist.
And Ray, on that note, I want to tell
you,
I did a quantum experiment
in
my house. So if you're familiar with this, I'm going to tell you what I did, and this goes for the audience as well. If you are familiar with this, you'll know exactly where I'm going with this. So I at night, I went into the darkest room of my house. I fixed a laser pointer to a surface, and I got a hair, my wife's hair, and I was passing that in front of the laser pointer. And I know it's a very simple thing, but it was just thinking about it. And then you could probably see it in my face right now. I'm still, every time I remember, I still, my brain it's one of those moments when you're like, poof. And are you familiar, Ray, with what experiment I'm talking about?
Vaguely. I can't remember the details, though. I remember seeing it somewhere before.
It is the experiment where the quantum experiment where you are splitting the beam, and it's supposed to be a wave. What's you actually, that what you see on the wall, it's very illuminating, because it's not what you expect and that's one of the experiments that are being done right now in universities to prove to students about the theory of quantum and how protons um, they man I'm I'm trying to
Did you mean protons or photons?
photons, I'm sorry, and
Yeah, because protons are in the middle of atoms. They're not going nowhere without the rest of the atom.
it was in a it was in light. Let me
Photons being a wave and a particle at the same time.
yeah, so you're expecting a reaction based on being a particle, but what you see on the wall is what a wave would behave like. And it's very, again, right now I'm even finding hard to explain the concept. But I decided to do it. I was reading, one of my rabbit holes where I start reading everything that I can find about quantum. And I was reading some things that prompt me to search some videos on YouTube. And that's when I encounter there was a professor from a university that's saying, "Oh, you could do a quantum experiment on your own house. All you need is, this." So I put it together, and yeah, that was my rabbit hole for that week, and it was very um, mind blowing for me to be able to see that. Have you guys done it yet?
No, I read about something similar, where the expectation and the reality didn't work out the same.
This is the only way I like to blow my mind.
Okay.
With a fan. Oh, dear.
Eventually, I wanted to follow the experiments because, but I need some materials that I need to buy. But apparently, one there's a filter you put with light bends. I think it was 45 degrees, and you can turn it, and you can kind of guide which side of the which side of the experiment that light should go to. And the interesting thing, I saw the video, and again, please forgive me because my mind is blown, and I'm trying to explain it, and I find it very hard to explain. Where
Oh, is that the one where it's supposed to be 50-50, but it always ends up going left?
well, there was one where you could see it, and it's always that way when the how the light behaves, and when you reset the experiment, it goes a different way. So it kind of proves that typical quantum theory that says that the reality collapses once it's been observed. And I was just like, I had to rewind that. That was I'll probably find that video and put it on our Discord because it was very interesting.
It
How
sounds like a topic for a short read. It really does.
yeah. Well, I was reading. I was in a rabbit hole, and that's when I started. Okay, I gotta watch videos now, and I went to YouTube and typed the topics, and I found those videos. Very mind blowing. So that's my rabbit hole for for the week.
Did you find any rabbits though? That's the important thing.
Yeah. Hopefully that will be white. But
Any bunny girls?
oh, nice. Okay, so I guess we should go to
Shout outs.
The best rabbit hole. Chaos in Borderline. And for these shout outs, I want to start with our Discord people, new members, ElecArmadillo and Yusroh. And I'm going to finish with Twitter, which we don't have such a great relationship, but I think that Twitter's still cool, even though we try to change his name. We always still call you Twitter. I'm sorry, Ellie. But go and check out the Jacked Up Review podcast because they are awesome and you should listen to them. Go and check them out. They're awesome. And that will be all for today's shout out. Back to you, Rob.
Nice. Oh, should we explain for the people that are listening to the pod, or should we wait for them to like watch us on YouTube and subscribe?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the point, right?
go watch that section on YouTube and subscribe. That would help us out.
Okay, so the next segment is
The Alita Army News.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Now I've got to find my share. There we go. So we're up to episode 270 of Radio Chaos, so it's getting up there. So this was interesting because the other guys on the live stream were saying, I said, "Oh, we're running out of topics. How about you guys come up with some?" They completely failed, and the night before the live stream, it still said TBD, and I'm like, okay, well, I better do something about this then. So I came up with this topic: the Alita Army 2563, which is the year that the movie is set. What could we do to help Alita? So basically, I said if the Alita Army was in the year in which Alita was set, what would we do? How would we be involved with her as a fandom? And of course, the obvious thing is we would go to the Motorball Stadium and cheer her on as she tears all the other paladins to pieces, because that's just what you do. But also was suggesting things like, we might create a diversion if she was going to try and get up to Zalem. I have the distinct impression that she wouldn't be allowed to go up there in one piece, based on the things that Vector said at the end of the movie. So thought maybe we could riot and distract the factory while she was trying to get up to Zalem. So things like that, and do murals of Alita and stuff like that.
Maybe she can marry somebody for papers.
Jesus.
oh god.
The things you think of.
Oh,
I don't think she'd care about papers.
But that way she can get the salads and not in pieces.
no, she'll make everybody in pieces on her way there.
I mean, Salem is great, but I don't think it's so good to die for. No point.
Are you saying Alita is weak? Come on, man.
I mean, she has a lot of strengths, but her psyche, her mind, I wouldn't play chess with her. Okay.
No. Why not?
Nice.
Let me put it this way. Alita is great, but it's like being proud of a big dog that would just welcome the thieves.
I don't get it.
That's what you did with Hugo. Oh, you want to kill me? You want my heart? You steal people's organ. Okay, here.
I think he's still sour with Hugo, man.
Yeah, no.
I'm not gonna let that go.
That's a lifestyle, Robert. You should understand that.
Oh god. Should we?
No.
Should we move on?
Your Hugo, not mine.
There was also some interesting AI artwork.
Nice.
AI is getting very good.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
So that was Radio Chaos on the Alita Army channel on YouTube. Just search hashtag Alita Army, one word, and you should be able to find it pretty easy. If you want a sequel to 2019's Alita Battle Angel, you are a member of the Alita Army. It's as simple as that. So do join us, help us keep Alita current, and working on getting a sequel.
Wouldn't it be cool if they make a video game of her?
That would be nice. I'd be happy with that. But of course, they'd license and create that based on a tie-in to a sequel. So I think the sequel's kind of like the first step to getting those sorts of things.
Yes.
Okay, so are we ready for this hard sci-fi piece of cinema?
Take me.
Are we ready?
This one
I'm-
was interesting.
I'm not sure about the words you've used in that sentence, Robert.
I am gonna admit, I am very happy to see how pumped Ray is about Love, Death, and Robots with this season.
It's an amazing season. You just picked one of the less outings.
Before we get into it, do we even have a plot? Because
We have a whole paragraph. It's only 7 minutes long. There's not a lot to talk about plot wise. Okay, so the title is Close Encounters of the Mini Kind. It is actually a follow-up to Night of the Mini Dead, which was in season 3. Both of them use the what's it called? The tilt shift photography method, which makes them look like toys. And it is quite amusing. But the plot basically revolves around an alien diplomat arriving on Earth with a message of peace, but the initial contact results in death of all involved due to a misinterpretation of the alien's intentions. This triggers a full-scale alien invasion with humans abducted for fuel and alien troops deployed for mass murder. Humans manage to turn the tables by separating the aliens from their weapons and then even utilizing captured alien technology, including miniature black holes. However, this leads to an even bigger disaster, the accidental unleashing of a powerful black hole that consumes the entire solar system, and the episode ends with humanity's self-inflicted destruction, symbolized by a pathetic farting noise. Strangely enough, exactly the same ending as Night of the Mini Dead. It had exactly the same ending.
I would have to say, I mean, this thing was 7 minutes long, and it was extremely entertaining to me. I don't know. I guess this was recommended by very own Captain Chaos, so I shouldn't be
I
surprised.
think Ray. Wasn't it Ray?
No, I think this was you, man.
Okay.
This was all you. Ray, was it?
Sorry?
I thought it was Ray that suggested it.
I suggested that you guys check out these and pick one.
Ray got pumped up with this season. He was like, "Yo, just take the whole season."
I just binged the entire thing. It was great.
He was blown away. Ray and I sit down and watched like 4 or 5 of the episodes. That was so good. It was
nice.
Yeah, it was so good, man. Must watch.
So before we get into this thing here. It is 7 minutes. If you had Netflix, just go into and
if you have a poop break, this is a great thing to do.
Watch it. We'll be waiting. Not long, 7 minutes.
Go poop. Go poop. Don't get constipated.
Go watch it, and then come back to us. We'll definitely be waiting 7 minutes. So
we promote clean guts. Pooping. Free pooping.
Moving on.
So I think we're ready for the very first question we ask on this show. And if you're new to the show, the question is, how old were you when you watched the thing, and what was your very first impression of it? I
should probably go first.
I was like 9 years old when I watched the thing.
Well, we'll let Ray go first.
Well, I think I saw it first. But yeah, so Love, Death and Robots season 4 had just dropped, and I saw I opened up Netflix and I saw the ad and I went, ooh, and started watching. Just talking about the whole season for a minute, it sort of goes up and down. It opens up with if you combine Thunderbirds with a concert of Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's the first episode. I just instantly described that. And this is the very second one that we're covering. And it sort of goes from a wild concert into comical end of the world, which is a bit of a left turn at Albuquerque, you might say. It really changes up between the episodes. Things go up and down all over the place. But the moment you see the police car racing across the desert in that sort of side-scrolling manner with the tilt shift photography, this is just not going to end well. and I have a question. Why do the aliens land out in the middle of fucking Texas or Arizona or wherever the
because that's how to play along with your typical Area 51 story.
Do you want to know the meaning of "leave me the fuck alone" and then you don't? That's what happens.
Yeah.
You go to the desert and they still not left alone.
I told you this before you continue. I was watching this with my wife, and when that scene came, she's like, "That looks like a toy." It's like, and I said, "Just give it a minute."
And then the blood starts and the screaming starts happening.
Remember the movie of the aliens that I told you about, Robert? That they die with Elvis Presley music.
Was that Mars Attacks?
Yeah, Mars Attacks. I felt the aliens had that feeling, like their image at the beginning when they arrive. They gave me the same vibes, but they were not the idiots.
Okay, Ray, continue.
Yeah, so I think I probably thought a little bit less of this than you guys. Like, I thought it was a fun little diversion, but I didn't feel it had the meat on it that that a lot of the other outings did. But I guess you saw more into it than I did. I spent a lot of time shaking my head, but I do that.
What do you think that it was so full of like inside jokes and references to men?
You got more of them than I did, but maybe I'm just too immersed in this.
I think he made jokes about like personal things about humanity that are weird. Like that guy, like take me, and then what the aliens see at the end, like with the freaking dildo that twists around.
Gio, let's rein it back real quick. Let's finish our thoughts, and we're going to talk all about this thing, like we normally.
Yes. So I thought it was good. It was snappy and smart. But I didn't get as much out of it as you guys did, I don't think.
Okay. Gio, you want to go or you want me to go or I go?
Yeah, okay. Go.
So I saw this thing for the first time. It was about a week ago. I had all kinds of faces as I was watching this. It obviously is. I find it tremendously hilarious. But it's. I guess one of the things, and we'll talk about this later, is the amount of references that I found on this 7-minute marionette show or toy show. I don't think I ever seen anything to this level. Granted, it's not, well, I want to say it's not very deep, but it has its points that we'll talk about. But I don't think I've ever seen something done this way. And that's the best, the thing that I took away from like my first reaction on watching this thing. It's, I had to applaud, and I'm going to have to watch the other one that Ray, that you mentioned, if it's from the same creator, because I had to applaud this, whoever the creator is for this one over here. And
we need to get Robert back into zombies, period.
because it was very clever and like Ray said, it was a diversion. It was something easy to watch. But if you're looking for the meat, I think, and we'll get into it in a little bit. I think you'll find some nuggets within this thing. It's not deep. It's not very deep. It's not hard sci-fi, but is very refreshing, very relaxing. No, that's not really
Lighthearted.
not relaxing, but
Lighthearted.
yeah,
Lighthearted. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
lighthearted, very lighthearted. And I really, really enjoy this thing. It makes it, I guess the fact that it's 7 minutes for the type of film that it is, I think it was just perfect. It's the right amount of time for the kind of. I don't think this is something that could expand. And I think I know why, and I'll get to that in later on. But that's basically my very first impression on this film. You.
I love that rating that is lighthearted, you know?
Oh, it is.
'Cause you know what I love the most about comedy is that it's overloaded with truth. Many times, truth that we don't like to deal with. And when you look at this movie, it touches one funny one, which is our freaking extinction. Because we are not even prepared to say hello to something new out there. Like, literally, when you look at the movie, humanity just screw it up step by step. 'Cause
Well,
the aliens came in peace, and we made sure to pick up a fight with them.
look, in reality, like experts like Stephen Hawking has warned that our first reaction to an alien signal or presence could have serious consequences if we assume hostility. And we know our present reality. It's that the most likely scenario.
No, they probably look at us and they're like, these guys are not even like agreeing with one another. Why are we gonna come here? you know?
Uh,
But
so
it was very funny because he touches that and he touches how fragile really the fabric of everything we know as society and the world and the universe could be on a thread, you know? That's what he says. When you look at it lightheartedly and how the movie goes. That's what I liked about it.
nice. Um, so I guess I can lead into um, what I alluded to in my comment. One of the things that I found really interesting about this, especially since it is 7 minutes long, is the fact that this one has so many references to other sci-fi films. And I don't know if you guys had time to analyze this. I think I talked to Gio about it. I don't know if Ray um, actually realized or he has his own references that he found on this film. I found 6 prior to us starting this episode. And as we're talking all the way to now, I realized there was one more and I added it to the list. And I think that one was brought up by Gio. So, Ray, I guess before I start, I wanted to ask you, did you realize there was references in this film? And if
Oh yeah. Well, the very first scene was the day the Earth stood still.
nice.
100%.
And that's not even on my list.
No, it's not. That's why I brought it up.
Nice. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay.
How did you miss that?
I'm telling you, I'm like looking at this thing. Well, I think partly is because everything happens so fast. And granted, it's only 7 minutes. And even now, I'm still thinking that I have a feeling I'm missing more. There is a lot more references in there.
Well, I think the way they designed the alien spaceships and the characters and everything was deliberately riffing off other things that you would have seen and make it feel more sort of natural, like sort of understandable, starting from a position of you having seen something similar rather than trying to come up with something completely new and iconic. Just, leaning into what's already out there and making you comfortable with it from the get-go. I think that was the idea.
Yeah. And the way that they made it, I think it adds to the comedic effect.
Oh, for sure.
Because since you already know how those references play out, seeing it play out in this different way just it makes it so comical. It's
Mm.
great.
Definitely.
One, I just gotta bring this up. Mars Attacks is one that Gio
Yes.
brought up on
I
the
think that Roswell too. I think that the entry scene, the place that they picked for the landing, is very Roswell reference.
Roswell. Yeah, and that plays into
The brown sheriffs, the police colors, and everything. I think that was purposely picked because of that to
that
refer that time.
that answers Ray's question of why they picked the desert. So that makes a lot of sense.
Era 51, yeah.
On our Discord, when we were watching this between me and Gio, I think Gio brought up Flight of the Navigator, which is very, very, very interesting.
Yeah, the ship did have a bit of Flight of the Navigator vibe to it.
Yep, we did.
I want to say because of the Dark Forest hypothesis, this one has a little bit of the three-body problem.
You remember the classic Alien movie that you and I were checking about, Robert? That it had like the scene with like the lights at night on like a mountain.
Oh, that's a number one. That's my number one. That is the name of the clip. I mean, this one is called Close Encounter
Close,
of the
yeah, Close Encounters.
Encounter of the Third Kind. That's the Steven Spielberg. Which, by the way,
Yes,
why haven't we covered that? And I have
I
heard
don't
from
know.
fans. I have actually heard from fans that we haven't covered this, and I'm
Yes,
like wondering why. It's such
yep.
iconic film. But yeah, you're right. That's I guess that was the initial inspiration of the thing. Men in Black.
Yeah.
Obviously, Star Wars because Star Wars. I don't think I was thinking like, is there maybe a little bit of Star Trek, but not enough to mention it? I think it's more Star Wars than anything else.
I think Independence Day was a big lean in with the mothership.
Oh yes, that's a big Independence Day there. War of the Worlds
with the tripods. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, this one had a lot of, and I can guarantee you, I'm missing more because
Mhm.
there were a lot more references in this thing. So I know that this is a comedic film, and I watched this a couple of times already, and you guys let me know how you feel. But I think this one has a lot of truth to how humanity is today. We have a tendency, like Ray alluded earlier, as humans, to fear the unknown. You hear a lot of people talk online to say, okay, I wish we can talk to aliens. Where are they? Are they here yet? And there's always this conversation about
Abduct me, come and probe me.
like alien, beings from another planet coming here. But those desires from people, in my opinion, could be, and that's assuming that they're not watching us already, right, could be the worst thing for humanity.
That's the Suffer Katy Perry. Take me.
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
It's
I know what you're talking about. It's that feeling that when you feel like a plastic bag. Do you
those,
know the feeling? Like a plastic bag.
those desires are the worst thing for humanity.
Getting adopted by aliens, yeah, they're horrible.
No.
Yeah,
Uh, you're following the conversation, right?
I am. I
Okay,
am messing with you. I'm messing
okay.
with you.
Because it is sad to say, and you know, I think it's doubly sad because I am part of humanity, right? As we all are. And please let me know if you guys agree with this. But what we see at the beginning of this film is most likely the reality that would play out if something like that ever happens.
Yep, we are so stupid. And I'll tell you something, guys. The guys that says to represent humanity truly don't represent most of us.
What is your thought on that, Ray? I mean, the first thing that came to my mind when I was watching that is like, you know, it is comedy, you know, it is funny, it's hilarious, but you know what? It's real.
Oh yeah. There is actually a Reddit. There's a subreddit called "Humans Are Space Orcs,"
Pretty much. That's accurate.
and it just basically means it's kind of suggesting that we are kind of out on the pointy end of pretty much everything when it comes to comparison to other species in the galaxy, whereas they're all cautious and you know do their science really carefully and also you know we'll strap a couple of warp engines together to see what happens. And you know cause a tear in space-time and all this sort of shit. It's like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, you know when you feel all superior, like anybody that plays StarCraft, we're like the Zergs, okay?
Yeah.
And what that means is we're insects, okay?
Well, it's even worse than that. Like, at least insects will all work for the good of the hive, right? We'll just do random shit because it's interesting.
Free will. It's fantastic.
It's called shits and giggles.
Yeah, free will is fantastic. I was watching. I was listening to some kind of like a reflection about humanity and being conscious, and it's crazy because the way you explain it is that we're a natural thing that has basically divided itself from its source because we realize that we are.
Mm.
So instead of making us really smarter, it isolates us the most. How ironic.
Yeah. And I think to your point earlier, Gio, this film plays out on the reality of humanity and the reality of humanity on the following scenes from that scene where we see the guy and the cow, right? And when we see the guy that walks out of the building, which is actually the was that the quote that we did?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh no. The quote that we did was the guy running down the street with the placard that says the aliens are coming.
Oh, okay.
They're here, they're coming for our asses.
wouldn't you venture to say that basically if you put that first contact with an Indian tribe, for example, it would have gone a lot better for representing humanity than greedy oligarchs.
Well, let me put it this way, and let me know if you agree with this statement. It went well for humanity that all the encounters so far have been of equal or less powerful species.
Total
You mean you mean the ones on our planet?
total annihilation.
It has been well. And the reason why I said it has been well for humanity is because if we encounter a let's say, a species that is more powerful than ours.
You should go and check our episode on Ender's Game so you can understand what we're talking about here, by the way.
Yes.
We go deep dive on that and how humans act throughout history when they don't understand something.
And that's my
Mm.
fear.
Yep.
And that's my, I know, normal fears for people. I have weird fears. I understand. Sorry. But that's my fear. Because I know how we are.
You're afraid of aliens with big penises.
Yes, pretty much.
I'm more afraid of the ones that have penises for tentacles.
Oh, that first scene was so hilarious.
We got a gun!
They got a gun.
You know, if I meet with an alien, the first thing that I do is get a freaking Simon Says game
Okay.
and play once and then give it to them and see them go crazy. You have to communicate in a fun way so they understand that you're about good shit. So if you give him music, if you actually play a mind game like Simon Says, where you actually have to click back whatever sequence and it gets longer and longer and longer. You know, if you do things like that, you are making them fall in love with you. But if the first thing you do is you kill their envoys, what do you expect?
Now, on that thought, I have a question for you guys. I don't know if Ray, you have a comment before I.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to comment that your statement about us interacting with species that aren't as powerful as us, and that's gone well for us so far. There is actually another episode in this season where a preacher has to go and interact with this aquatic alien that has come down into the ocean, and the aquatic alien has talked with the sea creatures because it can do that sort of shit, and basically found out all the bad shit that humanity has done to all the sea creatures, and then decides to wipe us out on behalf of the sea creatures.
Thanks,
So
Leviathan.
it didn't go well.
Yeah.
So there's a perfect example of what you were talking about.
Oh yeah.
And most of the times, that you cannot be angry with humanity's enemy.
And you know what? My question, it kind of attempts to explain that concept, and I guess in a way, why humanity is the way that it is, in a sense. And at the beginning of this episode, we see the envoy come down. The envoy gets killed, and then we zoom out, and we see an entire fleet surrounding Earth. So my question is, do you think that humans were justified by killing the envoy, or do you think that what happens after the fact was the results of that, what happened to the envoy?
Well, we
You
have
want to
seen
answer first?
we've seen a lot of sci-fi where the aliens have claimed to have come in peace, but actually what they want is pieces of our planet because we have lots of water or lots of biomass or whatever happens to be that they need. And they start out being friendly, but then they start taking and taking and taking, and we can't really stop them.
Yeah.
So it kind of felt like maybe we had to fight them in the end anyway because they'd rocked up with this massive fleet. Why do you rock up with a massive fleet? Well, usually to invade and take what the other people have. So yeah, it's a bit sus, really.
What is your thought, Gio?
The way I see it is, at the end of the day, we kind of took away that reality the moment that we acted rashly. So even if they came with ulterior motives, they went to the trouble of acting out otherwise, and we fucked up.
Okay.
You get what I mean? So let's put it this way. Let's go Star Trekky here. If the Federation looks at this problem and you know that they cannot interfere if they're superior, but these guys actually kill the envoys, the Federation is not gonna interfere because they are going for their own annihilation by just being super hostile with the first contact.
Yeah,
You know?
it's kind of weird because the Federation, we still not. I mean, there has been some examples of that. They still will not interfere, but
Exactly.
but
So
it
basically, if the whole fleet is there, and if you look at the succession of choices, and these people just retaliating, even though they came with a big fleet, they exterminated the human because the humans just were hostile all the time. I don't think that nobody's gonna really mediate and help humanity. you know, it's like I think that any kind of federation type of group is gonna look at this is like, we don't want these people to actually spread and grow. They're just gonna come with suffering and fire and war everywhere they go, trying to kill anything they see and take over it. We don't want that. No kind of group or federation wants that, because that means destruction on the balance they have created. You know,
hmm,
that kind of behavior has no harmonious results on any kind of system. Bottom line, however we act right now, we are not harmonious. Everywhere we go, we mean trouble and we mean scars. That's the way that humanity progresses and works so far. We are not self-sufficient. We are destructive. We consume and kill everything where we go. Everywhere that you see humanity growing, you're not gonna see unless that has been nuked and like evacuated purposely. It doesn't grow back naturally as a biological form of life.
l- let me ask you this, and we kind of talked about this in previous episodes, but I don't think never from this perspective.
Mhm.
Um, do you think if humans are able, as a whole, I mean, we have a few
Yeah,
who have experimented this, and what I'm talking about is the perspective from space in looking into Earth, looking at the planet, looking at the atmosphere, and see how fragile our planet is.
yeah,
And it has been in every single instance, and please correct me if you found it otherwise, but every single instance that I research about anyone, and most likely, NASA astronauts or astronauts from the Chinese space station, I mean, the space program or the Russian space program, every time that someone has come down to Earth from being out there has been a life-changing event, and that person has never become the same person again. Um, so my thing is, eventually, and I might not be alive to see this, but based on our scientific advancements and where we are today versus where we were, there's going to come a time where space travel is going to be a normal thing. I mean, we're talking about colonizing the moon right now, right?
Katy Perry did it already.
20, what is it, 2026? Well, she didn't leave the atmosphere, right? But I think I have to look it up. I don't know if you guys can look it up or not for me, but I think the NASA Artemis program is 2027, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
But we're thinking about having settlements on the moon, right? And that's a stepping stone for having settlements or like on Mars and stuff like that. So my question is, although I'm not going to be here to see that reality will be the norm. people are going to go into space for vacation, for work, for whatever that might be.
Are you saying we're going to get Pluto Nash eventually?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And it's going to be interesting because, you have a little law that says that no government body can own any celestial object. So I can see how the reality of
Hey,
Ash
you,
will
you
be.
remember you remember in Pluto Nash, Jeff Bezos was working hard on that movie. It was the android.
So we will get that reaction, that reality from Pluto Nash, because we can't own, a celestial body. So my question is, once that time comes, do you think humanity, since experiencing that, will change?
I am taking over one asteroid for myself, and I'm gonna put there an evil AI that is gonna control every security airspace.
Is that your answer? Because it doesn't
Yeah.
relate to. Is that how's humanity, right?
Oh, I'm disconnecting myself from it. You seen the meme of the stick man with a jetpack that goes like, "I'm out of here," and then he just like, Psh, "I'm that guy."
So Ray, you got my question, right?
Could you repeat it one more time? Because I've just got so confused by what Gia said.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm trying to get an answer, and he goes somewhere, I don't know where.
He's
But
been saving up a month's worth of chaos. You knew this was going to happen.
yeah. So the question is, how people that have experienced space has
Mhm.
come down to Earth changed.
Yes.
It's a life-changing events, and I ask, if you find this otherwise, please let me know.
You're not referring to cosmic radiation having ruined their bodies.
That's something else, but I'm talking about the psyche and how that person
Yeah.
became after coming back to Earth. For all we know, that is the reason why.
He's talking about what space travel did to Katy Perry. It changed her.
I'm talking about what space travel done to everyone that has gone to space.
They've realized just how small Earth is.
Every single person, and this is, I'm actually posting this out even to the listeners. If you find of someone that their life has not changed, please let me know. I actually searched, and everyone that I have found so far, their life has changed.
Am I the only person that might go on a spacewalk and look down and say, "Ha, what a small place for me"?
Well, I don't think that you I don't think that you could say right now what you would say if you're looking down. Let me put it that way.
Take me, take me, take me. I'll
Because
say it.
because of what I seen other people and their behavior, there's no way you could actually, when you're there, basically. There's no way you could actually say, oh, because I've found how, like, people would say, okay, this is what I'm expecting. And so far, every reaction has been unexpected. It's not something they expect. So my question is, eventually we'll get there. Based on the how science is moving at the fast pace that is moving, there's going to come a time, I'm not going to be alive for, where this is going to be the norm, right? There's just look at the NASA is planning to uh, do colonies on the moon, right? And I think it was 2027, if I'm not mistaken. But far enough into the future, this will be the norm. Humans will go into space for either work or vacation. That is assuming that we don't find a place where we can just move, right? My question is, when that time comes, do you think, based on what we have seen so far and the reactions of humans when they go to space, Do you think humanity will change?
Well, there's two different ways of looking at that. Humanity is going to change because once you leave the environment in which you have evolved, you will change because your environment has changed. There's
Change
no
for the cell
two
phone.
ways about it. But consciously or cognitively, I think that most reasonable people will change. There might be a few people out there who have severe cognitive differences, like psychopaths or narcissists, that may be somewhat immune to thinking in broader terms like that. But yeah, I think the majority of people who experience something which would be referred to as life changing would have their life changed. If you get my meaning, it's like kind of goes with the territory. But I think there are a few people out there who would be so focused on other things that they wouldn't notice it.
Yeah.
They would just function through that opportunity and miss it and function in the way that they know how to function.
What do you think, Gio? Do you think humanity will change as a whole?
I know we will. I mean, look at us. We change with cell phone. You don't even need to change our surrounding for us to change. You just need to introduce new technology. That's enough to change us as social animals. So imagine when you expand the bounds of our colonization. Of course, it's gonna change us. Because we adapt. First of all, as people psychologically, we are very reflective of our surrounding. So imagine that with culture in another place. We're not even taking into account that these other new places we colonize will have new cultures already there, or will create their own cultures throughout that colonization process or developmental process socially on these new places.
Because
So yeah, it's sure we're gonna change.
that is something that I have, and the reason why I said we haven't really talked about it from this perspective before. We have actually talked about it in previous episodes, but it's always that it's something that I always wondering. The ignorance of the fragility of this, this rock that we're living on
Hmm.
is the reason why there are so many wars and so many. Granted, I mean, to your point, Ray, there are always going to be those psychopaths. There's always going to be those exceptions. Um,
That's
and
always
they,
gonna be people like me.
and and they're always going to cause issues. But as a whole, humanity is not in a good place today, and I feel that when the time comes on those, advancements that I talked about, where space travel becomes norm, let me say I hope that humanity will change as a whole, um, to slightly a better, you know, s- space being, because I know that if I am an alien species and I'm advanced enough and I can watch, I know I'm not even going to give it a chance. I'm just going to look somewhere else.
Even Rover at heart is a misanthropist. He just won't admit it.
So, Ray, are you surprised that I'm thinking all this while watching the seven
Fuck
minutes?
humans.
You're certainly waving your overthinking flag high and waving it wildly. I gotta say.
You know what would be cool though? If they exterminate us, not to harm the cats and dogs.
For all we know,
What will the cats and dogs do without their servants?
Be happy animals.
Well,
So be
I
able
don't
to
think
mess
that's
up your
okay.
couch. The dog will be able to eat as much food as he wants and poop on the living room.
um, should we move on to the next question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the question that we normally ask at this point in the show, this is what we normally ask in every episode, is what would be your favorite scene or moment in this film? And I don't know who wants to go first.
Mine is a drill dildo.
It's interesting to know that that is what is
And the guy, take me, take me.
one of the yeah, I don't know if this is a thing still. I know it was a big thing in the 80s where people were talking about, the people that were adopted by aliens and
Abductions
what
and
they were
stuff, yeah.
actually. I'm sorry?
Abductions and stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So when these people got interviewed, there are all sorts of things that they claim the aliens have done. And it's kind of funny in a way, not funny for the traumatized people, and I do apologize, but it is funny that they actually taken that one piece of reported uh, into this film because it is a cliche at this point. Do you guys agree on that? Whenever
Yeah,
there's something
I
comedic,
agree. I think that the this scene and like the guy, take me, and the cow are
The cow. Oh my
yeah,
god.
it's small scenes that make reference to the everyday things that connect with the audience, and I think that that was what imprinted on me. I mean, the cow. What is the cow? I had an annual pass for Universal. You know how many times I went to the Twister ride, which was not really a ride, but more like a freaking thing where you walk and see how the movie was made and the practical effects, you know. So when I watched that, I'm like, oh shoot, look. And I think about Twister movie, which is a big thing too.
yeah,
So and the movie is full of these little moments. I think so. Like, I mean, that thing alone was not it to me. I mean, I think that that feeling that he gave me, saying that we were watching Ready Player One, that it keeps you like, oh look there and there. That's how I felt with this movie. You know, that was the fun that I had with it.
yeah. And I'm sure if I watch it again, I'll probably pick up on more references because I think this was packed with references. Um, and Gio, that part that you said, take me," that's actually in Independence Day when they were in top of the building. With
Not only that, but it to me also connected with when you think about Las Vegas. One is one of the big touristic attraction things themes of it is Area 51. I think this movie is full of that. It's full of like that touristic, the touristic conspiracies around that. There's a bunch of Area 51 attractions in Nevada, in Las Vegas,
yeah,
because Area 51 is there. You know, I
yep,
mean, there's people that go with drones and shit, like stand on the border and play around with the guys to see if they really gonna show up. If they show up, and like, they're stupid.
yeah, yeah. I still remember what year was it where there was a big movement where everybody was like, yeah, on this day at this time, we're all gonna um break into Area 51.
Oh
You
my
remember that?
god, how
Oh
did that
yeah.
go? How
I
did
was
that go?
I was like, that is the stupidest thing. You're playing with military.
Yeah, that's like so stupid. How
They,
did that go? Tell me, because I didn't know about that. How did that go?
I think and again I have to look it up, but basically what I remember is it never took place. And of course you would chicken out.
That's
You
the thing. The people that have like come by and make these guys come from them, the points where they make it is far in, like almost a mile in, and from there you cannot see still shit or what's inside, because it's acres and acres and acres hidden in dunes.
yeah, yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
Okay, so Ray, the question,
Yeah.
your favorite scene or moment? Thank me.
Those are the funny scenes, but it's really hard to pin something down because it had lots of interesting moments, but I don't know if it really has a favorite. I guess maybe when everything goes to hell at the baseball stadium, I was waiting for it. It's like this, oh my God, they've got black hole technology. This is going to go badly.
And the sheer amount of weapons they had together.
I mean, the moment I saw them stealing the black hole cannons from the alien walkers, I'm like, oh, this is going to end poorly because they're going to strap them together. They're just going to do it. And it's like I was saying about those Reddit stories about humanity as space orcs. And I remember reading one. I was looking for it, but I couldn't find it. It was about humanity was contacted, and humanity was like, hey, you guys have got interstellar travel and we don't. How about you give us a single interstellar engine? And it's like, yeah, all right, we'll give you a single warp engine. You can't really get into a lot of trouble with a single warp engine, can you? Oh, no, they took it apart. Oh, shit, they've worked out how it's put together. Oh, God, they're building bigger ones. Oh, shit, they're strapping them together. Oh, no, they've torn a hole in space-time. Oh, shit. It's just like, yeah, that's what humanity would do. And the moment I saw them like strapping a whole bunch of those black hole guns together, I'm like, yeah, we're fucked.
All the fiction stories that you like reading, what do they say about us? We're like the ones not to fuck with.
Yeah, pretty much. There's actually a Reddit called r/HFY, and I never knew what HFY stood for, but it stands for humanity fuck yeah.
Yep.
Where humanity's busy being awesome all around the galaxy. So basically, anywhere where aliens underestimate humanity and humanity goes, hold my beer.
Humanity pretty much is seen by aliens like fucking Vikings.
Yes, space orcs.
Yeah,
We
literally.
are the space orcs.
And like they say it like they're the ones not to fuck with. Like they would just go kamikaze on you.
Mm, mm. But
Like we
there's a
don't
lot of
understand. Like they go like we don't understand it. It makes no sense.
so there's a number of YouTube channels out there now that are /HFY stories, and I've listened to quite a few of them, and they're not too badly written in a lot of fashions, and they're either like fan service or just humanity being underestimated and reminding the galaxy that yeah, don't do that. You regret it. So yeah, I mean, the moment they started stealing the aliens' black hole guns, it's like you've stolen these alien black hole cannons, but you can't read their language, so you couldn't read the warning message that said never use more than one of these at a time. So they strapped 10 of them together. That was the end of that.
Um, I kind of saw Red Dawn in this too. I don't know if you guys seen that movie.
It rings a bell. Not a very loud bell.
1984, Red Dawn. It's an invasion movie. Obviously not alien invasion. It's just an invasion, military invasion. But I guess my favorite thing, and Ray, I am with you when you said there's so many good parts in here. It's kind of hard to pick. My favorite thing is how the whole thing comes close to reality in a funny way. Obviously, I know that's done intentionally. That's part of the comedic effect of the whole thing. But I just loved it. I don't think I seen, and believe me, I'm trying to think if there was ever any sci-fi film that was done in this manner with this technique. And I think this is unique. But that aside, is the realism, or I have a hard time, it's how close this comes to reality. I guess that would be the best way that I can put it, where how humans would closely behave in the same situation portrayed in this film. And I think that was clever. And the reason why I'm gonna watch the other one, even though there's I really enjoy that. Yeah, it's obviously not real as science fiction, right? We hope it doesn't ever become real, right? Or at least when I'm not here, when I'm long. But yeah, I really enjoy that, and the reason why I enjoy that is, as you guys heard me said in previous episodes, I really enjoy material, IPs, could be TV shows, movies, books, whatever, games that get me in a thinking phase, and I think that's what this film did, and I really enjoyed it for that reason, for making me, and then like Ray just said here, I'm waving my overthinking hat proudly on this film. So I really enjoy that. And with that being said, Ray, I just got to ask, because at the beginning of the show you said, and you might not have changed your opinion, obviously, but you said that this was one of the less, what's the word that you used? Out of
Impactful.
less impactful. Did you, in any of the comments that we brought up to this conversation, was there anything that you said, oh, I never really thought about it that way? Or was it all just expected?
I don't think there was anything that was hugely eye-opening. You guys have changed my opinion on IPs before. I will freely admit to that. But I think 7 minutes is probably not long enough, especially when it's been done in a slapstick manner deliberately
Yeah.
to really activate the salivary glands of the mind and get all that sort of stuff going on. You're certainly sailing away into the distance there, Robert, with all the stuff that you're pulling from this. And I mean, look, you're probably stepping stoning from this collection of tropes which they've borrowed to the places from which they've borrowed them.
Mhm.
And it's those things that you're thinking more deeply about than the actual one that we're discussing today. You're sort of
Which is kind of what we do, anyways, here, right?
yes, but no. I mean, he's riffing on the deeper details of the things that they were riffing on. He's once removed, if you get what I mean.
It's like getting worked up on foreplay. 50 Shades of Sci-Fi with Robert.
Well,
The
I'm gonna say yes and no at the same time. I see where you're coming from with this, but like
50 Shades of Sci-Fi with Robert. The best, baby.
like yes and no, because you are right. Going back to the exact beginning of this film, how humans just decided to shoot.
He's got a gun.
Yeah, exactly. That
Maybe that's not a gun, but it could still kill you.
oh yes, it would. It was massive. But but that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. Like, if we take it, for example, where it came from, right? The Close Encounter of the Third Kind. that beginning, or can we even say Mars Attacks? I'm trying to think, because that's how pretty much how this whole thing. The one that we covered, the black and white one. Oh my God, the day that
Well, there's two versions of the day the Earth stood still. There's the black and white one from the 50s, and then there's the one they did in the 90s.
the one that we covered was the black and white one.
Yeah.
So all of those were very close to the reaction, especially if we look at the black and white version of it, of the day that the Earth stood still. Actually, we did the same thing if we think about it, because we militarized the landing zone, and I think they did show at the aliens at one point. For us from Klaatu, what was it? Was it Klaatu? I think it was Klaatu. The robot.
The robot. Oh, was it Gort? I can't remember. I remember Gort being a name that was important.
That, yeah, I get you. It's like, but the point that I'm trying to make is the reaction. It was in this film, to me, it was a lot more closer to what humans would have done than the actual source material that they got it from. And the reason why I say this is yes and no in your statement is because I don't know if it is a sign of the times. Like if the writer of, for example, the day the Earth stood still would have written it today, would have changed that beginning and had them kill all the aliens, because that's a reality we live today that may or may not be the reality we were, let's say, back in the 50s.
Well, the 50s was during the Cold War, and they'd just come out of the Second World War, the second global conflict of humanity.
Then they invented heaters and things got warmer, and it was not such a cold war.
Luckily, we don't have rails, so we can't derail us.
Yeah.
We don't have any rails.
That was before the Cold War and the Great Depression.
Right. So yeah, I mean, after the Second World War, there was a lot of people who were like, we just shouldn't fight. We've done enough fighting this century. Let's just give it a miss. But you know, as time ticks on and people die off and forget about these horrific things that humanity's done to itself, they start thinking differently again, and then that becomes an option. And of course, this is not like an alien army and a human army lining up across a distance and then letting rip at each other after communication breaks down or negotiation breaks down. This was an incident where somebody pulled a trigger because they were like freaking out. They were trigger happy, and it just went all downhill from there.
Yep.
So, you know, this is a lot smaller scale.
You remind me of something funny about humanity as a whole, Ray, actually.
Yeah, I would say.
And I want you to confirm to me if that's true or not. But cyclically, good time creates weak men. Weak men create hard times. Hard times create hard men. And hard men create good times. And it repeats.
Yes, that is correct. I've heard that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's also the cycle of riches as well. You get somebody who builds up a company from nothing and builds himself a fortune, and then he gives it to his spoiled son, who then goes and spends it all and loses it all.
Yep.
So, you know, it's cyclical.
Carnegie and Rockefeller. More or less.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it depends where you are in that cycle as to how humanity will react.
Yeah.
Basically.
Okay. So I guess we're ready for the last question?
Yeah.
So the last question, if you're new to the show, is what was the last impression of the thing that we're covering? Not sure who wants to go first. Maybe whoever watched it recently. I don't know. It's kind
Well,
of
you two guys watched it together, didn't you?
yeah. Well, yeah, and then I watched a couple of times after. I don't know how many times Gio watched it. Oh, okay. So you watched it a lot more than I did. Okay, so let me. I guess I can go first, since it seems like I was the one that watched it the least. Maybe I need to watch it a little bit more so I have the same thought as Ray
Oh,
here.
you've already had plenty of thoughts, Robert. I don't know that you need any more.
I think this thing, number one, is an easy watch. 7 minutes, like we said, and that's counting for the letters and all the credits and all this stuff, right? So venture to say it's closer to what, 6 or 5 minutes for the whole thing. It is very fun, very comedic, very lighthearted. And I think this kind of sci-fi has its place. I would actually watch an entire 45 minutes of this. Granted, there has to be some um it can't
Character
be like
development.
chaotic, right? They have to be character development. But I would watch this right after I get off of work, because that's the moment that I need something brainless. So what is I'm hearing background sounds.
It's not coming from me.
Let me mute Geo just in case.
No need, no need, no need. I was closing a tab and it made noise. Sorry.
That's okay. It got me distracted. You see, no rails. That's what that means.
Don't be clean, guys. Just wait till the event is finished. Then you clean your dirty socks. That way the smell don't come out like my tabs came out.
So I think it was great. I think that is not the last time I'm going to be watching this. It was that fun for me. Not sure if this is the same thing that's going to happen to you guys, but I'm planning to watching this more times, and I really enjoy the reactions that I saw coming from my wife when we were watching this. Is the silent expressions on the faces. And if you watch this, if you haven't watched this yet and you waited for us to talk about it, and you haven't watched it yet and you are going to watch it, just pay attention to the expressions, your face expressions as you watch this. I think all of us here have done it. It was very out of left field. So yes, I enjoyed it. I don't think I ever seen something like this, done like this before, and I welcome more material like that. I can't. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be watching the other one, because I enjoyed this so much.
Nice.
And that is my last thought.
You want to go first, right?
Yeah, I'll go next.
Go for it.
So, I kind of had a bit of a chuckle about this one and just moved on when I first watched it. I really didn't expect you guys to select it as the one to cover from this series. I really didn't. And I went back and watched it again a few more times, and it is well put together. I have to admit, it is a succinct 7 minutes watching the downfall of humanity from, one trigger happy. Probably wasn't even the it wasn't even the sheriff. It was probably like a deputy, trigger happy deputy, who blew the cock off the big alien, and that was the beginning of the end, as it were. And of course, it just like the previous one, it shows like the degeneracy of humanity, and the aliens, which the aliens took full advantage of. Everything just went downhill from there. And it's a cautionary tale. They're basically saying don't send in undisciplined people who are not cognizant of the fallout from making a mistake in a first contact situation to deal with said first contact situation. I don't think that any government would want low-level police force dealing with something this game-changing for humanity. You just wouldn't want those people being put on the spot to deal with something this possibly disastrous. You wouldn't send in a grandma to negotiate with terrorists. You would send in a trained negotiator. Just like you wouldn't send in a bunch of cops.
Hey, think about it. Maybe grandma might be able to get shit done better.
Not if she's senile, dude.
Grandma has seen more shit.
And then she can't remember it.
Do you imagine how well that would go?
It's got to be better than shooting the cock off alien.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it is meant to be tongue in cheek. It is meant to be ironic and comedic, which it completely succeeds to do. But it also is a cautionary tale of, send the right people in for the right job. Don't expect somebody who just had no training for anything like this to actually be able to succeed in it. And would really appreciate it if any aliens pick up this broadcast, that they would speak to the relevant authorities, not the wrong ones. Talk to the right people, please.
Yep.
So we don't end up evaporating this section of the galaxy with a black hole.
Following a fart, but yeah.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, it's worth a watch. Maybe worth a couple of watches if you get some chuckles out of it. If you're a deep thinker, maybe you'll travel down some of the roads that Robert has traveled down after watching this. But it'll give you some fuel for thought, probably.
All right. Well, I'm gonna pick up on the note to just simplify the message that this movie might have. Is that we don't know when we're gonna find an alien, but the main message behind it probably is that do not be reactive in life. If you are not reactive in life, then you're not gonna be at the mercy of your surroundings. And then shit like what happens in this movie will not happen. Probably. I think that's the best way that you can be a representative of humanity. Is not being reactive, even though
don't get jealous if the aliens more hung than you are.
Yeah, no, don't. They might get you actually space bitches, and that's a good thing. But this is a fun movie. What I like the most about it is that you don't have to be a fan of the genre to enjoy it. I watched it several times back to back. I did love the other one that they made about zombie apocalypse. It's a must watch too, so go and check it out. I like everything that the studio does. I think that is the same studio that does also Ice Age, which is another one that we have recorded about. Which you haven't seen it. Go and check it on the first season of uh, Love, Death, and Robots, and then go and check our episode on it and tell us what you think about it. That one too. It's very fun, and I will probably watch this one again. It's just so much fun. Another reference that we missed, Robert, to mention is the day that world stood still. I think that it did reference to that too. There's just a never ending number of it of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And that's my last thoughts on it. I think that people should go and check it out.
Nice. Okay, so next segment.
Yeah.
The science in sci-fi.
Yeah, so science. Uh, well, the thing that kind of stood out to me in this one was the weaponry that could create small black holes. And knowing how black holes function, it's more a case of, wow, you can create a small black hole and it will go away again after it's eaten the thing that it's encapsulated. That's like impressive because that's not how black holes work. So maybe they weren't black holes, except they were, because at the end it turned into a black hole. Like they were mini black holes. They had to be because it had a corona and everything. So yeah, they were black holes.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't you think that was probably using the Hadron Collider as a last weapon to
Well, they
create a
were much
Mandela effect
smaller
and
than
reset the timeline?
oh, maybe they were resetting the timeline every time they fired them. Who knows? But yeah, I did ask Google or Gemini in this case, could small black holes be used as a weapon? And it said, herein lies the reason for interstellar peace. Black holes are not weaponized because to make them below nuclear density by conventional means requires a huge amount of mass, larger than a few times the mass of our sun. Kind of difficult to fit in a tube about, 5 yards long.
Easy with antimatter.
So yeah,
You gotta be able to wield it like Play-Doh, right?
it goes on to talk about, rather than having a gun that fires black holes, you just find a black hole and then you trick your enemy into getting too close to it and then say sayonara, suckers.
It's just a giant space Roomba.
Yeah. Except the garbage goes to the Roomba rather than the Roomba coming to the
So it's
garbage.
like a proximity mine.
Yeah, basically.
There you go.
But yeah, very difficult to weaponize black holes.
You can send that to somebody that you don't like with a camera, so it records their reaction as they get spaghettified with the camera into the package when they open it.
But how would the light get out so you could actually see the video footage?
You put a wormhole behind the camera so it doesn't get affected the transmission. Who you think you're talking to, man? Neil deGrasse Tyson? Come on, man.
Thanks, Gio.
I got the
so
solution,
smart.
brother. I got the solution. Hey, will you tell me that theoretically wouldn't work?
And here is Dr. Chaos.
It's true. It's true. For the heck of the theory, it works over it. You cannot deny it. If you put a wormhole in there, you can still get the transmission.
I don't attempt to deny things I don't understand. So
there you go.
I'm just not going to say anything. Moving on.
My knowledge is beyond your comprehension. You can admit it, man. It's fine. I know that I'm a genius.
Nice.
Mad genius. It's chaos. I know.
It's
Dr. Chaos.
People don't get it sometimes.
In rails.
Dr. Chaos JSMI, which stands for
No. But tell me, on all seriousness of this hypothesis, you don't think that it will work if you put a wormhole inside of that? Think about it.
You know,
you're not even trying.
Let me say something that I think I can speak for Ray also when I say this. Silence does not mean acknowledgement.
I know.
It usually means confusion.
These people, you see, you're trying to have a serious talk about theories or crazy shit. They just look at you like you're crazy, and that's it.
I'm not saying that either. It's just like what Ray said. It usually means confusion.
Yeah.
Tell me, you that are listening, what do you think will happen?
Join us on our Discord and tell Gio how wrong he is, please. Somebody who knows.
Wrong about what?
Most of the stuff that comes out of your mouth,
when people don't even listen to your question and they just call you wrong without telling you, yeah, that's possible. No, that's not even possible.
I honestly, I invite everybody listening to our Discord and let's continue this conversation on Discord. So you are listening, you can rewind if you didn't get the question and then join our Discord and let's talk about it.
Yeah, I
But
want to know
Robert,
if a
you
wormhole can exist inside of a black hole.
have
I,
no clue.
I I can try to answer that, but like Ray said, it's we can't really speak to things we don't understand because of the level of science that we are at right now. I want to venture to say, and I might be wrong because I'm not a scientist, but I think that would be impossible because of the nature of the black hole. But again, I said I'm not a scientist. I'm not trained in, um, the science of the cosmos. So I'm not sure.
I just asked ChatGPT and it says yes. You see, and these people are calling me crazy.
ChatGPT. But yeah, that's where that's my thought on it. Okay, so I think we talked about the points just like I expected. The points that I wrote for the science, so we already talked it over in the main show. So I got nothing.
And on top of that, you know now that a
Patience,
wormhole can
cat.
exist in part of the black hole.
My wife's cat has decided it wants something and it's meowing at me. So, what do you want, Furball? See?
Yeah, he's agreeing with Geo right here. So
Yeah,
that's
pretty
what I'm
much.
trying to tell you.
The cat agrees with you.
Yep.
He's got a black
And he'd
hole in his
know.
stomach, probably.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does. He wants food. I'll have to feed him when we're done.
Or
here.
maybe the Schrodinger cat is inside of him.
Could be. Could well be.
Hungry.
Besides our Discord, where you can tell Gio how wrong he is or how right he is, depending on your opinion. His head's waving around so much right now, it nearly fell off.
Oh my God.
We have a number of websites. The first one is sciencefictionremnant.com. That's our main jump-off point to the podcast. You'll find our current episode there, plus the back catalogue of our many episodes, some 200 odd strong, where you can probably find an IP that you've either interacted with before and like or hate, or find something new there. Do recommend that you watch it before watch the IP in question before you listen to our podcasts, because of course you realize that in a deep discussion about the topics at hand, we are going to spoil the shit out of everything. That is a given, so be aware of that. If you don't like being spoiled, watch it first. Also on that site you will find short reads, which Robert does a lot of the writing of, but there are guest short reads there as well about topics to do with science and science fiction. So if you're looking for something to get you deep thinking about science and science fiction, check those out when you have time. We have another website. It's thisissci-fi.net. That's the one for creators. If you've got a sci-fi IP that you're spruiking, be it yours or something you're involved in, do check out that website. It's in its early stages, so if you want to be part of making it great, let us know and get involved. If you'd like to help out the costs of the podcast, we have a Buy Me a Coffee. You can either sign up for a small monthly donation, or you can make a one-off. And that way you could support the costs of preparing this material for your consumption, as it's not free to make a podcast. And Robert has been shouldering most of those costs up to this point. We have Substack. Substack's an interesting way to get those short reads or other bits of information that we're passing around out there. It's either a website that you log on to and then you can read the Substack entries like journal entries, or you can set it up so that we'll email to your inbox so you can have the posts handy dandy delivered. And of course, there are lots of other sci-fi Substacks on that website, so you can sign up for those too, and you can have all of that sci-fi goodness delivered to your inbox if you so desire. We also spend a fair bit of time on Threads. There's been lots of good sci-fi engagement there, talking about different IPs, and different things to do with science and science fiction. So catch us on Threads. We're also on Instagram. We do drop a few things on X every now and again. And we do have Facebook as well. So you can find us pretty much all over the socials. So whatever social you happen to be on, do have a look for us there and catch up with us and have a chat. But of course, if you would like to chat to us at any great length, Discord is the easiest way to do that. And to do that, you do need to have Discord already, or if you don't have it already, it's very easy to sign up and it's free. And then you can scan the QR code on the screen there right now, or you can follow the link that's in the show notes underneath the podcast description. And you could join us on our Discord very quickly. And Discord is one of those things that you get out what you put in. So if you are interested in a particular topic, ask a question, and we'll be very happy to respond and start a conversation with you all about that. And of course, we have many, many channels on our Discord for all sorts of different IPs and different things to do with sci-fi. And of course, if you can't find one there that suits your topic and what you want to talk about, let us know. Drop somebody a DM, myself, Robert, or Geo, and we will make sure that we get you a channel there for you to discuss that one, or direct you to one if one already exists. So pretty easy, handy dandy, and a great way to talk to us about the show, about sci-fi topics, and about science in general. And of course, if you do have a favorite IP that we have not covered, we'd love to hear about it. You can either leave us a message on our hotline, which is 1305-563-6334. That's 1305-563-6334. Drop the one if you're in the continental United States. And you can leave us a message there, and you let us know if we can use it on the show, and we will actually play it on the show and talk around it to highlight what your message is. And of course, if you have an IP that we haven't covered that you're excited about and would love to come on the show as a guest, we'd love to have you. Guests are always welcome on Science Fiction Remnant because you have a passion about a sci-fi that we want to get into, so we want to hear about it. So you can join us on our Discord, let us know what your favorite IP is, and you could possibly join us on the show too. But of course, we hope you enjoyed this show. It's good to be back in the saddle again after a little bit of a break. But of course, we'll be back here next week with another exciting IP. Hopefully you'll join us then, and we can discuss more about science and science fiction on Science Fiction Remnant. Bye for now.
Make sure to request Blade Runner 2049 with Ray.
Oh, shut up.